Okay, welcome back to part 3 of the N-scale switching layout. So what you can see I've done here is I've taken both modules that we built in the previous two videos, and they're laying upside down on my table saw. I've got a piece of wood under here. And what I've done is I've clamped them together, and just by feel, I can feel on both sides that the top surfaces are level, or they're level with each other, I should say. So that is that's going to be pretty good. I mean, we are going to add foam, which would make up a little bit of that, but it's pretty dead level. We're in line with each other. That's really probably better terminology. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera real quick and show you what I've got going on here. Okay, for the wiring for the layout, it's not going to be super complex, but it is going to be enough that I'll have to take a little bit of planning to get it done nicely and orderly. I'll be using some of our wiring products later in this build series that I'll be showing off. They're my videos, so I can promote whatever products I want, which I'm going to promote my own. Anyways, this is going to be wired for DCC. So, like I said, the wiring itself is not going to be super complicated, but I am going to be running some other stuff. I plan to maybe even experiment with some LCC on this layout, so maybe actually multiple buses running under here. But really, to go between the two modules is nothing complicated. I'm just going to simply drill 3 holes that are going to go through the end plates, if you will. We'll call these the end plates of the modules, to be able to pass wires back and forth. So what I've done is I took a tape measure and I measured over 5 inches from each side and made a mark. And then I found the dead center, which was right in the middle there. And I'm going to take this 1, 2, 3 block. If anyone's a machinist or done any kind of layout, you're familiar with these. What's nice about it is they're consistent, and you can use them. I'll show you here. I can set it like this, I can set it like this, I can set it like this, and no matter where I put it, that's going to be a consistent line. So, using that for that very reason, I'm going to take this block and I'm going to mark here, and mark here, and mark here. And those are going to give me 3 perfect locations to drill. Okay, speaking of drilling, I'm just going to do a 1/2-inch hole. Real simple, using a brad point bit so it doesn't walk on me. And I am going to drill this a little upside down just because the clamps being in the way. Probably help put that on the drill clutch. And one of the other nice things about the brad point is I can go until I can just see myself poking out on the other side, and then I'm going to come back around and use that as a starting point. And that will give me some nice clean holes with minimal tear out. I've got a little tear out here, but not too bad. So I'll just do that on all 3 of these. Well, that one poked through too. And actually it drilled out pretty clean, so make sure that one's clean. Yep. Alright, so get this cleaned up. Okay, now it's time to get these upstairs. Okay, now that I got the modules upstairs, go ahead and put the legs in. If you remember, I made the pockets just a little bit bigger so that the legs would easily slide in to the pockets. Okay, and to secure the legs, I'm going to use these SPAC screws. I mentioned these in one of the other videos. It was either part 1 or part 2, I don't remember. Anyways, they have a star head, and they are self-drilling, so I don't have to worry about pre-drilling anything and splitting any wood. So these are what I'm going to use for that. Okay, and like I mentioned in the previous video, I'm only going to do 3 screws per. I think that's going to be plenty. So and you can see it pulled that leg nice and tight. One at the bottom, and I'm going to do one on the side here, but I'm going to go right in the middle. And that is rock solid. It is not going anywhere. Okay, let me finish these up. Alright, now it's time to stand them up. Since the legs are inset a bit, the modules will actually fit almost flat against the wall there, which is just nice for some extra stability. Okay, as you might notice, the top isn't quite level with each other, and that's to be expected. The legs were last adjusted when these modules, or when they were used on our old layout in our attic, and our floor in the attic wasn't exactly perfect. So we had the ability of adjusting the feet to make this level. So next thing I'm going to do is grab a wrench, loosen up the feet, and I'll be able to adjust this so this top is perfectly level here and here. And I'll go underneath and secure it together. Okay, I forgot to mention that I'll initially level this first module using this long level for this direction and the short level, this little torpedo level. Now, it's not bad. It's fairly close, actually. In fact, this way is almost perfect, but I can definitely tell that this end needs to come up slightly. So I've got one of those feet just to show you a little bit closer. So it's a carriage bolt, and it's got one of these little blind nuts, sometimes called T-nuts. That was the other name I couldn't think of in the one video. Some people call them T-nuts. Again, I call them blind nuts because their original purpose was to be put in on the back side of a panel where there's a hole, and then you run a bolt through, tightening into this nut, being a blind nut. It's on the blind side, and then it pulls it tighter, and these little tines pull into the back of the panel. In this case, we're not really using them for that purpose. We're using them for these leveling feet. So in order to do this, I have one wrench on the carriage bolt. The other one will go against this nut, and that will loosen this nut. And then as I rotate this, if I hold this in place, if I rotate this, it's going to get longer or shorter. And then once I have it where I need it, I run this nut up tight against the blind nut, and it will hold in place. So I'm going to adjust this end a little bit to try to bring it up. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'll just run that nut back up, tighten it against the blind nut, and it's locked in place. Okay, now that this module is level, I'm going to adjust this one to it, and I can tell this needs to go up a little bit and this back one needs to go down a little bit. So I'll start with that, but eventually I'll have to adjust these back here as well. Okay, those are both level now. Happy with these being in plane or level with each other. I'm going to shoot a couple screws to join them together and lock that. I'm also making sure that the front is even. Just check the back one more time, okay. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, last, I know I'm level this way, but I'm going to throw the level on here and see how close it is. And this side could come down a little bit, so this end I'll adjust down a little bit. Alright, there we have it. The two modules installed together, leveled, and ready to go. So the next step will be foam, and that'll be in the next video. Thanks for watching.